episode of
Apartment Theater.
Apartment Theater, episode 1263. You do have to
Hmm.
watch all of them to know the story of what's going on.
We have a very complicated story arc,
There's a
it
lot
turns
of
out.
lore. Yeah.
A lot of lore. It's really hard to keep up with. We can't just give you a short synopsis of everything that's happened, so.
And we never will because
No.
you know, I don't want to. I barely want to do anything, so why should I do that? Why should I do anything? And you know what's something you shouldn't do? Drugs.
Drugs.
Also, Dani will not be joining us tonight because she took some experimental drugs and started eating people. So we figured that we should probably just let her figure that out on her own.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really surprised that it happened. Seems kind of like a Dani thing to
It
happen.
does.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, she will never hear this. So we watched a movie. So the theme, I guess, for this is just movies that came out this year that were like, we
Hmm.
should probably have watched this.
Yeah.
And this one we watched is called MadS. It came out this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's a French movie,
Parlez-vous
which
français?
we've watched a lot of French horror movies this year.
We have, yeah.
I think it's like our eighth or ninth one.
Yeah, the French be popping off. Well,
They're doing something.
they're doing something.
So
For
it looks
sure.
like here it says a teenager stops off to see his dealer to test a new drug before heading off for a night of partying. On the way home, he picks up an injured woman, and the night takes a surreal turn. Um,
He didn't really pick up an injured woman. She just sort of like appeared in
she,
his car
I was
when
wondering
he
if
was pulled
she
over.
actually was there because they were high
Ooh.
on drugs the whole
He
time.
he was high. I think maybe that's part of the like question of this movie is like everything that's happening real,
Yeah,
or is it just like was she actually like an escaped testy? It sounds. What is gonna image of
I think you were looking for patient. Yeah. Thank you, Cass.
You're welcome.
So have you ever done drugs? Not like
No.
prescribed drugs.
No,
Okay, neither have
I
I. So that
haven't. I have no experience with hallucinogens or anything like that.
I was
I'm
hoping
really
maybe you would have been
boring,
like, I did
guys.
MDMA or something, just anything. I don't know.
No, I'm real fucking boring, man.
Me too. Watching this movie, it made me go, is this something I should be doing? And
Hmm.
then as it progressed, I went, no.
No. No.
Because here's the thing, like for drug movies in general,
Hmm.
nothing good ever happens doing drugs. Like I've
No.
never watched a movie and went, I'm glad or I'm like, oh man, I'm bummed out that I didn't get to
Yeah.
try those drugs. Like I didn't watch Requiem for a Dream and went, yeah, heroin. Let's just do that. Speed, okay, yeah, let's
Yeah.
just do that. And then
Yeah.
watching this movie, I'm like, first off, I don't know what the fuck it's an experimental drug thing, but basically
Yeah.
it turns you into a feral zombie and gives you like unlimited stamina, and
Yeah.
also you can just take bullets like
Nothing.
nothing.
Yeah. Or is it some sort of crazy virus that people are getting infected with? Because the strange lady that shows up in the first guy's car is infected with something, according to the like little recording device that she has, which we don't know how she got that.
What a random thing for them to have on them too. Like I felt like that was
Yeah.
just, why would you have this?
Well, like, so she's clearly an escaped test subject or testee, as
As you put,
I put.
the scientist.
She's a human test subject for something. I didn't quite catch it. I don't know if they actually say anything about it, but they on the like recording we get bits and pieces that it increases the endocrine something or other. And I was like, okay, that is a scientific word, but I don't think that's saying what you think it's saying. But okay.
I mean,
Um,
it's just gobbledygook for the movie because,
yeah, basically. I'm like,
I mean, like technical terms and stuff. It's like,
yeah.
I
The
don't
limbic
know.
system. Who fucking knows?
Yeah, the
Um,
mainframe.
but for whatever reason, looking at lights or being in light makes the people who are infected stronger and more aggressive.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And it's a little weird. I did get the same kind of like vibe as almost like 28 Days Later.
That was a
Where the
comparison I was seeing with it.
yeah, with like the rage virus that they have. My because I liked this movie. I don't
I
know.
did too.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So
did
I
too.
really liked this movie. I liked the kind of journey that it took us on. I feel like this movie, they could have made this a almost like found footage movie and it would have fucking sucked. I'm
It
so fucking glad that it was not a found footage movie because it had the vibe of like a found footage movie, but it wasn't. And we got like the good clear shots of like what's actually happening to people and like these moments of like lucidity where like they are themselves and it's almost like luring people to them so that way they can spread the virus even more.
yeah.
And I think that was probably like my favorite part of this is like seeing that concept play out like almost multiple times. And I'm like, but like in slightly different ways. And then them actually having just like these moments of just insanity. Or are they just super drugged up?
Yes.
We don't know. Because they're fucking at a party and doing drugs, so we don't know like which is taking over, the drugs or the virus. Probably
Because
both.
because I think the drug is like the virus thing, like, but
It
I
could
think
be,
just the
yeah.
side effects of that drug
Mhm.
is like increased rage, like it's like doing PCP or something,
Yeah.
but it also causes you to hallucinate.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking that it just makes you just turn into like a feral animal,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
you're just on fight instead of fight or flight. You're just on fight the whole
You're just
time.
on fight mode. Yeah.
This movie was done in 5 shots.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, because
Oh,
they
cuz it
do this
like
thing
it's
too.
continuous.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, now that you
yeah.
say that. Yeah.
So this
Oh,
movie,
that's
I
cool.
don't think you've seen it. I don't think I watched it with
Mhm.
you. I watched it with my friend Courtney, and she was like, "What the fuck is this movie?" It's a movie called Climax, and I think
Mhm.
that's also a French movie.
Mhm.
I think, maybe, I'm pretty sure it is. But it takes place in a dance studio thing, and all based around dance.
Mhm.
But someone spikes the punch, and everybody's drugged out, and that whole movie is doing weird twisty
Mhm.
camera angle things that makes you sick. I mean, that director's whole
Mhm.
thing is I, his earlier movies. I'm like, dude, it feels like you put the camera like on your head
Mhm.
and you put like a spring, and you're just like
Wobbling
waving
around.
it around, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, doesn't that look cool? It's like,
Mm.
sometimes, but not this time. It looks like I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah.
But the thing that they do though is when they're talking to different characters and stuff, it'll start following around that character for a bit and
Mhm.
kind of trade off with that
Yeah.
character. And there was another movie called Slacker that did that too, where
Mhm.
you talk to somebody for a little bit, and as you're getting to know that character more,
You
that character
pass
becomes the
off.
focus,
Yeah.
and they like. And I think that whole movie was like they just did it all in
Mhm. One
one
go.
run. I
Yeah.
think it was like multiple times of
Mhm.
one run, but like, yeah, it's insane to think that they did
Yeah.
something like that. But
That's
uh,
that's so cool, and I think that is absolutely a flex on like the director and like the camera work and writer and stuff. Like to be able to make that smooth and work and not have all these like cuts and stuff. It's pretty dope, to be
Yeah,
honest.
because there was a scene because with the second character, the girl who
Oh
is
yeah.
is you pretty much like the focal point of like the movie
Mm-hmm.
because like
Yeah.
it's a guy at the beginning and it stays with him for a bit and then we he gets kidnapped and we switch to like his
Yeah.
girlfriend and she stays for quite a while, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And there's a part where she steals a bike
Mm-hmm.
and she's riding the bike, but like how it all just like moves with it
Mm-hmm.
is so I was sitting there like there's not many times where I can sit there and go like, wait, hold up, how the fuck did you do that? Like you can't
Mm-hmm.
just because you're so used to just like, okay, here's your set piece and then you do your
Yeah.
thing and then it's gonna
Yeah.
cut, like it just continuously does it. I'm like, did you what were you writing something the whole time? Like what were you
Mm-hmm.
doing? Like
Yeah.
it was, yeah, it was blowing my mind. But
Mm-hmm.
something similar to Climax though, the whole movie feels sweaty. I'd say
Yes.
Climax is very intense, sweaty
Mm-hmm.
feeling. Like it feels like a party that you desperately trying to get out of, but
Mm-hmm.
like you can't find the exit,
Yeah.
and like the walls are sweating. Like I didn't feel it was as sweaty as like this movie. I felt like it was more just
Mm-hmm.
a lot of chaos. There was an
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be pointing to like these are compliments to this movie, but
Yeah.
there's a movie called Possession, which I mean it's a pretty popular horror movie, but there's a scene where she's in a tunnel
Mm-hmm.
and she has like groceries and stuff with her, and she just goes fucking ape shit. It's a very iconic scene,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I would describe this entire movie. So if you've seen Possession,
Mm-hmm.
that this whole movie is like watching that scene for 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Yeah.
it's a lot of screaming and people running at people and biting them and shit. I mean, she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't bite people in Possession, but
Yeah.
it's like there's a there's a couple scenes that were so good. The where when we go from the second character to the third character,
Mm-hmm.
and she's riding the bike to try to get away from her because she doesn't realize that there's something wrong with her, and she's putting
Yeah.
blood and shit in her face.
Yeah.
She's like, "I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna come and eat your fucking face off,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, "All right,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
all right." The
Yeah.
jump scare got me.
Oh, when she like crashes through the. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. It got me
I
a
was
little bit too. I was like, she's coming, but I forgot that there was like a wall there that she like ends up crashing through.
I didn't even think about the window there. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was an effective jump scare because it's like
Mm-hmm.
you actually caught me off guard. It wasn't just
Mm-hmm.
okay, we're lingering on this shot. Here it comes. It's
Yeah.
like no, it was just quick, bam, bam. I'm like holy fuck! I just
Mm-hmm.
punched the fucking table. But I
Yeah.
was like, I sat there, was like, oh, like all right,
Mm-hmm.
you got me, you got me. I can't
Mm-hmm.
believe it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was very surprised by this movie. I was going in thinking that
Same.
this movie was gonna suck.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much in it because I like the slow, the kind of journey that we take with each character and their decline, basically. Um,
It's a
as
gentle way
they
of
go.
putting it.
Yeah, yeah, their decline from mental stability. Um, and because it feels like, um, and I was telling somebody about this, it feels like the part in 28 days later where like so we get the opening scene in 28 days later where we get the monkeys in the lab and like they're being set free by the fucking animal rights people, and then
Yeah.
we end up cutting to the main character in the hospital bed, but we never got the like in between stuff. Um, and so this feels like that in between stuff to show how a virus like this could spread very easily, even though people are trying to maintain it and like contain the situation. And just like how sort of dumbly flawlessly the first guy who like was the almost like patient zero contact of the like human world, ends up spreading, we'll call it a virus or whatever it is, the contagion without even realizing it, and just like easily just sort of escapes the like guys who are trying to contain it, and he's just like stumbling around. Like it just seems like genuine dumb luck that's happening in the like with the first guy. And then like almost same thing with the second chick, where she just is in like survival mode of like, oh fuck, get out, but also like her brain's starting to go fucking haywire.
Yeah,
and
you could, because they start twitching.
Yeah, they start twitching. And that too, just like the very subtle like overtaking of whatever is happening, of them slowly twitching, and then like all of a sudden they get this like sort of bomb of weird euphoria in a light and go absolutely insane. But then those little nuggets of sanity that they have, of like, because they can still talk.
Yeah,
That's the other thing. They can still form coherent sentences and like say stuff, but in the meantime, they're also still like groaning and making insane noises,
and
like
biting themselves and
just yeah. I mean,
it's a lot of blood.
it's a yeah. But it's not. It's not a lot of blood like a slasher or a gory movie.
It wasn't like The Substance.
Yeah, no, like
It's not a bathhouse of blood.
no. There was an appropriate amount of blood for what was going on and what made sense.
Yeah.
Like it was clearly thought out on what was happening. Yeah, this I think was a great movie. Really enjoyed it. Especially, I mean, Justin, you listed it off a couple other movies about the, continuum shots and that kind of stuff. That, like, if you're into those movies, you'd probably be into this. Same thing with, like, 28 Days Later, that whole thing, like...
I want you to watch Climax.
I probably will now.
I think you and your dude should watch Climax.
I will text him right now and say...
Have you seen Climax? Yes, Cass, I've seen this. I've seen you do this before. Oh, baby. But yeah, no, it's such a unique. There are definitely times where I feel like it'll drone like a little bit, but it's a short. I mean, it's short for us. Like it's a 90-minute movie, which is perfect for. If this was any longer, this would be agonizing. But it's perfect for what it is. Like it's like once you think you're getting done with it, it's when you finally switch to different perspectives, it's like, okay, it feels like you're refreshing the movie every single time you're moving people, so it still feels good watching the movie. But yeah, it's intense though. And also France, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. Like I mean centuries of war and shit. I guess
yeah.
Like we've seen our entire country just crumble, so we can do something here.
Yeah, and it's still weird watching movies about things, illnesses or movies about things. That was a great sentence. You're welcome.
Yeah, it is weird how movies have plots.
It's weird how movies have plots, guys. We're really used to watching movies without plots, actually. So it's confusing when they have one.
Alligator month,
man.
All of it.
No, it's weird. It's still weird watching movies about like plagues or viruses or whatever spreading through a population after 2020, and this movie came out in this year.
It's so weird to think that was 4 years ago,
I
but
know.
it feels like it was 10 years ago.
I know. So it is just like, and knowing different things that were going on in France with different protests and riots riots? Were there actual? Yes, there were riots in France, I believe.
There's
Uh,
been plenty of riots in
there's
France.
been plenty of riots in France. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's some of the like last scenes with our final person following through and watching the way whatever it was take a hold of her.
What was up with that apartment? It was like covered in
It
plastic.
I think it was under construction because they'll
Okay.
section it off. Which, by the way, that totally gave me Left 4 Dead vibes. 100%. I was like, this looks like a Left 4 Dead map. What the fuck? Because there's the hospital in the one map in Left 4 Dead, and that's what it reminded me of. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Um, so I was really jiving about that. But yeah, the like some of the final scenes with her, I think were a lot of fun in a weird
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Um,
It's intense. Like there's a good
yeah.
like chase to it because
Uh
you
huh.
want her to escape, but like you also know it's already got her anyway. She's delaying the
Yeah.
inevitability of it.
Well, because there is almost like a couple moments there where it's like, oh, like is she actually infected? Because it hasn't like shown itself as much in her. Or like she hasn't started doing the like major twitches and that like the other characters had done, but really it was just kind of like I think she was in a fear state, so it was reacting differently potentially.
Yeah.
Um, or it's because she was a third point of contact where like almost everyone else was a several other, 100 or 10 or whatever point of contact by the time it had gotten to them. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
it had
because
mutated maybe to other people so it would travel faster, that kind of thing.
so I don't know anything about drugs, but I'm pretty sure like if you do certain drugs, it's in your blood for a bit or something,
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
so I'm thinking that this whole time they think that there's like this like shadow organization trying to
Mhm.
get them, but really it's they are blasted on drugs and the thing like they're doing the things in the
Mhm.
movie, but like certain aspects I'm like you're not like I do think that you were high enough that you
Mhm.
blasted through a glass wall and
Oh yeah.
tr- try to kill your friend because there
Mhm.
are fucked up stories like that
Mhm.
or like
Yeah.
trying to eat try to eat people and stuff
Mhm.
too because I mean that like, there are some fucked up drugs out there. I think there's one that's like called like crocodile or something where it will just melt your flesh off.
Great.
Yeah, and people like no, or like spice is another one. I think this drug is like similar to spice, where it'll just send you on a fucking nightmare. And I'm like, I every time I would go to a party and like you want to do some drugs, like
Nah, I'm good.
no,
No.
no, and it's like, well, why not? And it's because when has drugs ever worked out for anybody?
Oh man.
I did drugs and now I'm great. It's like no,
Mm-mm.
everyone goes, I did drugs and now I feel like I don't know what reality is anymore.
I saw God, and now things are bad. I
Like
mean,
my
it could
friends
happen.
want me to do shrooms and I'm like, dude, what if I don't react well to it and you fuck up my
Yeah.
life? Like,
Yeah. I mean, there is research going on. Well, there was. Certain powers that be are probably going to keep the research from happening with things like shrooms. Um, that in specific doses that it's almost like a reset for your brain for people with like anxiety and depression and stuff.
oh, then I probably do need it.
Yeah, probably. Same.
I I
But
feel like if I did that, you would just be like, who is this guy?
who are you?
Like, yeah, I feel really confident right now. Hold on a second. That's not
Wait.
you. Who are you?
I mean, maybe.
Uh, but yeah, so for this, so this was like a Shutter original.
Mhm.
I mean, what but that basically just means is they just like, hey, can we have this?
Mhm.
Like they didn't like I don't know if they put money into it to get it to be made, but they just distributed it through their platform. But I have not liked a lot of the Shutter
Mhm.
Presents kind of movies. Like,
Yeah.
I watched one that was called. It's not called Hellraiser because that's a totally different thing.
Mhm.
But I cannot remember what it's called. But I did not like the movie at all. There was one though that I did like. It was a couple. I think because I think The Wailing was a um, Shutter original one too, or Shutter exclusive.
Oh, it might have been. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah. And then we didn't watch this for the podcast, but it's called Metamorphosis, and
Mm.
that one I really liked. But I mean, it turns into The Exorcist at the end, which I was kind of disappointed by.
Oh,
But um, still thought it was an interesting premise, though. But
yeah.
yeah, I give me more of these nightmare scenarios here.
Yeah.
This felt
Mhm.
like, oh, this is the place I don't want to be at.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a general feeling of discomfort in a movie, like the entire time.
It's like the feeling of going to a party and for some reason it feels very hostile and you can't figure out why.
Mhm. It's like
That's what this movie felt like.
it's like having dreams that you're still in high school and you don't know why, but you know that you're supposed to not be there.
Yeah. Yeah, see for me in that scenario for some reason the
Mhm.
classroom just disappears.
Mm. Not for
Yeah.
me. I usually sit there and I'm like, I'm in my 30s. Why am I in high school right now? I don't have an assignment due. Fuck you. No. Like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, it is like I'm living in a delusion. Somebody else is living in a delusion. I don't know. Like, I'm just like, why am I here? And I cannot leave.
I feel like when people like re-go to college, like they reapply because they're
Mm,
like,
mm-hmm.
well, my degree didn't work out. Let me try to get a different one. I feel like that's the nightmare scenario that's going on, but they're living in it. Like,
Oh yeah.
wait a minute, I'm in my 30s.
Why
Why
am
am
I
I
here?
here? And then your teacher just looks at you and goes, you applied to be here. What are
You
you talking
chose
about?
to
I'm
be
like,
here.
oh yeah, this is reality. Fuck. All
God
right.
damn
Damn it. I thought,
it.
well,
Mm-hmm.
maybe this time it'll work.
Probably not though.
Uh,
We can only be
yeah,
so lucky. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so we recommend this movie.
Yeah, this was a great time that's not a great
Yeah,
time.
it's a great movie to watch. It's
Yeah.
I think this is a rare occurrence where we had two movies in a row where we liked it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That never happens.
No.
Like it's usually like a whole bunch of garbage and then the shining piece of
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, we
It's like,
usually
oh,
go like
good.
several months of garbage and then a singular movie that we're like, yeah, it was all right.
Like,
There was
oh,
some stuff we
good.
liked about it.
Ah,
But no, this one was pretty good. Yeah. I give
if
it a recommend.
if you have Shutter, you might as well watch it. Like you already
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, no, it's a weird time watching that
Mhm.
movie, but yeah, if you like the movies that we've mentioned before, um, I would say check this out and then
Mhm.
tell us what you think because there's comments that you can leave on Spotify.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can
know
tell
if
us
Danny
that.
has to approve of the comments for them to go up, but put the comments in and then we'll put
Mhm.
it up whenever
Yeah.
she arrives again.
Mhm.
But yeah, also, I guess it's just the end of the episode. So thank you guys
Yeah.
for checking out the episode. Check out the other episodes. The only thing that I can see is downloads. So if you download the episode, I get an email saying how many people download stuff. And it's really awesome when any number comes up. So it was only five, but I'm like, hey, that was five that I didn't think we were going to get. So to the five download people that we had, thank you. I appreciate it. We appreciate it
Thanks. Yeah, we
as a
appreciate it.
family.